Hi, everyone. Welcome. I hope you enjoy the content we share here. We upload new stories every single day for your entertainment, and I truly hope they resonate with you. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin. That night is carved into my memory more clearly than any other. The house was silent, almost unsettlingly so. The only sounds were the faint ticking of the wall clock and the occasional groan of the wooden floorboards as the night settled in. I sat on the couch with a cup of tea cooling in my hands, though I hadn't touched a drop. My fingers trembled against the porcelain, my chest tightening as though the very walls were pressing in on me. My heart raced, not with anticipation, but from a storm of guilt and fear that had been building inside me for months. I had been carrying a secret. Each day I kept it buried. The weight grew heavier. I convinced myself I could handle it, that I could keep smiling, keep pretending. But guilt doesn't stay silent. It chips away at even the strongest mask. Every smile I offered him felt false. Every "I love you" sounded like betrayal. The thought that I was deceiving the one person who trusted me most was unbearable. That night, I finally understood I couldn't keep it hidden anymore. The creak of the front door broke my thoughts. He came in later than usual, shoulders slumped from another long day. Even tired, he still greeted me with that familiar, gentle smile, the one that had always been my safe haven. Yet tonight, it pierced me like a knife, because I knew what I was about to confess could take that smile away forever. I watched him as he set his bag down, loosened his tie. My mind raced. When he knew the truth, would he ever look at me the same? Would that soft smile disappear, replaced by anger? Or worse, by cold indifference? My throat closed at the thought, but I knew there was no turning back. "I need to tell you something," I whispered, my voice so faint I barely recognized it as my own. He stopped and looked at me, instantly sensing something was wrong. Concern flickered in his eyes, but he didn't interrupt. He simply walked over, sat down beside me, and waited. The silence was suffocating, as though the whole room was holding its breath. For a moment my courage faltered. My lips trembled. I nearly swallowed the words, pretending everything was fine. But the crushing weight on my chest reminded me silence was no longer possible. The truth came out haltingly, each word tearing me apart. I told him about my mistakes, my dishonesty, the guilt that had haunted me night after night. My voice broke again and again. Tears blurred my vision until I could hardly speak. With every sob, I thought another reason for him to hate me. Through it all, he said nothing. He just sat there listening, his face unreadable, which scared me more than if he'd yelled. That silence was a calm before the storm, and I braced for destruction. When I finally finished, I whispered, "I'm so sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I just couldn't hide it from you anymore." My hands were ice cold, my body trembling. I didn't dare look at him. I waited for the explosion, for the sound of him walking away. Instead, he exhaled slowly, leaned back, and said in a steady voice, "I already suspected something." My stomach dropped. He had known. That made me feel even smaller. But then he added, "I wanted to hear from you, and now you've told me." There was no anger in his tone, no venom, no shouting. His calmness shattered me more than rage ever could. I finally lifted my tear-streaked face, expecting to see a man destroyed. Instead, I saw someone holding himself together. Pained, yes, but not broken. "How can you even look at me?" I choked out. He sighed, shook his head, his eyes weary but still gentle. "Because I still love you." Those words struck harder than anger ever could. They washed over me like a wave, stealing my breath. He admitted it hurt, that forgiveness wouldn't come quickly. But he reminded me of something I had forgotten. He knew me beyond my mistakes. He remembered the years of love, the life we had built, the bond that, though damaged, wasn't destroyed. I broke completely then, sobbing into my hands. I couldn't stop whispering, "I'm sorry." When he pulled me into his arms, I felt the difference. His embrace wasn't as tight, not as sure, but it was still there. He wasn't letting go, not yet. The days that followed tested us in ways I couldn't imagine. Trust, once broken, is fragile. We stayed up late talking, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence. There were moments when his eyes seemed far away, moments when I feared he had changed his mind, days when the air between us felt heavy with pain neither of us could put into words. But he stayed. That was his choice. He stayed because forgiveness isn't erasing the past. It's deciding to keep moving forward in spite of it. His love wasn't loud or dramatic during those days. It showed itself in small, quiet ways. The coffee he still made for me each morning, the way he sat beside me even when too tired to speak, the gentle brush of his hand against mine across the table. And I did everything I could to prove worthy of that choice. I learned patience, humility. I realized rebuilding trust isn't about big gestures. It's about consistency, about showing up every day, proving you're committed to repairing what you broke. Little by little, step by step, we found our rhythm again. Months later, one evening at dinner, I caught him looking at me, and then he smiled. Not the forced one from those early weeks, but the real one, the smile that lit up his whole face. That single smile said more than words ever could. It said, "I forgive you. I still choose us." In that moment, I grasped the depth of his love, a rare, undeserved grace. My confession could have ended everything. Instead, it became a painful but necessary turning point that made us stronger. I will never forget the pain I caused, but I will also never forget how he chose love when he could have walked away. He forgave me, and I vowed I would never take that gift for granted again. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to World of Tales.